Hello and welcome everyone. This is Race on Oz. It's Monday night. It's the PC League. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've all had a great weekend and a good start to the week so far on Monday. We are kicking off round number 9, the penultimate round of this season, season number 3, the final season for 2023. It seems so far off in the distance when we first started, but it's arrived pretty quickly and here we are. So we're getting set for Barcelona, which is going to start in about 4 minutes. So let's have a quick look. Last week's winners, so sprint race number 1, it was Terry Rayton who took out the victory there. Chris Hildebrand, who came in first in the silver class, and Mark Stevens has really impressed since debuting only a couple of rounds ago. He took out the AM win there for race number 1. For sprint race 2, it was once again Terry Rayton went back to back. Big congratulations to him. He made it 2 from 2. Chris Hildebrand also was a clean sweep. He took it out the second race as well. And then Wally Masterson was the difference there in the AM class round, race number 2. He took out victory there. So congratulations to all 4 of those drivers: Terry Rayton, Chris Hildebrand, Mark Stevens and Wally Masterson. Let's have a look at how that's affected the standings, shall we? There we go. So it started. So as it sits right now, Terry Rayton has a pretty healthy lead. 587 points, sits on top. 465 and a half is P2. That's Max Ricker. We had a really dirty day last week. 15th and 11th were his finishing spots for the both sprint races. So he's got a bit of work to do. He's only 1.5 points ahead of James Pierre-Reid, who's 3rd. Paul Russell only 1 point behind him in 4th. Andrew Lowenson wasn't here last week. He's sitting in 5th on 455. Matt Frost 444. James Mack, Neil Fakney, Chris Hildebrand and Nando Latanzio rounding out the top 10. Let's take a quick look now at the silver standings. So it's James Mack. He's ahead by 42 points over Neil Fakney, who's sitting in 2nd position. Chris Hildebrand with his great weekend, great round last week. He is now sitting in P3 on 350 points. Peter Wall in 4th on 314. And then it's a fair gap to Mark Hurley, who wasn't here last round, I do believe. Carlos Demeniak, and then Matthew Marsh, Gabriel Ingersoll, Peter Hatfield, John Stockton. Anthony Rice got on the board last week as well. So shout out to Anthony Rice. He's in the chat there. Is he in? He's in the chat and he's in the race. Looking forward to watching him go around again, saying that hoping he doesn't get a repeat of the vertigo or whatever it was that took him out in race number 2. Yeah, go well. I hope that doesn't affect you either. In terms of the AM, it's Wally Masterson leading the way from James Bridgens and Herbertron. Still really close. Only 20 points separates P1 to P3. Then a bit further back, Mark Stevens on 88 points. But if he had been racing for the full season, he would have been contending for the AM Championship. So we'll see what he can deliver for us this evening. Simeon Coco in 5th. Ben Doughton in 18th and Josh Nightingale in 7th and last position. Let's have a quick look at the manufacturers. So it's McLaren leading the way out in front by 231 points over Porsche. Ferrari a little bit further back, about 176 points behind Porsche is Ferrari. 4th is Aston Martin, 5th is Audi, Honda in 6th, 7th BMW, 8th Lamborghini, and Mercedes finally got on the board as last week. Thanks to Adrian Rice. The circuit, it's 16 turns. It is 4.65 kilometers. It is punishing on the left-hand side of the car, especially the first part of the lap as well, with multiple left-handers through the first sector. So a long left-hander of turn 3 really wears those tyres out. In terms of strategy for this evening, there's no rules in terms of pit restrictions and whatnot, so we're going to see who can make the tyres last the longest around Barcelona as we are here. And there it is. Great. Alright, so we're just wrapping up. We can see Matt Frost, he was the fastest of free practice. So Frosty got a pair of racing gloves as well on Saturday night. That was very nice of him. It was very nice for him to get that, 44.090. If you did tune in to the presentation night, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't, go back and have a watch of it. It was a really great night. Lots of people worked really hard to organise that. Stu Barkley was one of those people, and all the admins and everything else that was in the background. We even had Coaster, the actual owner of Ruse, the head honcho, on, which was awesome. And we heard from all the different parts of Ruse console. We heard from iRacing. We heard from GT7. We heard from everyone. Neil Fakeney was on there as well. Really, really awesome night. We gave away some awesome prizes as well. A G29 wheel and pedal set as well was one of the prizes, as well as a bunch of gloves and a headset valued at $400. So they went the $25 gift voucher at Bunnings. There were some really awesome prizes that were given away, all thanks to Gamesman, one of the long-time sponsors of the league, who were very, very, very generous with giving us about $1,000 worth of items to give away, which was very, very much appreciated. They do great work as well, the Gamesman. So if you haven't shopped there yet, please do yourself a favour. It's a great place. I've never been in person because it's in New South Wales, but their service is exemplary online as well. They get plenty of stuff out to you super fast, as cars making their way out on circuit at the moment. Got a decent field tonight, 19 cars. It's the most we've had for a little while. Heather Russell is in the chat. How are you, Heather? Nice to see you again. Chris Hildebrandt, two-time winner from last week, out on track already. We saw Peter Wall earlier. Wally Masterson, last week's AM Race 2 winner. Neil Fakeney out there. Max Ricker will be looking to rectify his season after last week's poor showing. And this guy here, Mitch Hayes, he was up there in free practice as well, so keep an eye open for him to see what he is going to be capable of today. But we're going to have a look at Peter Wall, who's last down front straight of the Circuit de Catalunya. Perfect conditions, 34 track temperature, 27 degrees air temperature. The track's at optimum. Peter Wall sending his McLaren into turn 1, the right-hander, turn 2 now. This is turn 3, the long left-hander. This is super punishing on the left-hand side of the car's tyres. Lift it all the way out to the edge here. With the brake at the Repsol sign. And then once again, those left-hand tyres screaming by this stage. And it's hard on the brakes, down a slight hill into turn 5, and then turn 6, the little left-handed kink there. Turn 7, this is a tricky one. Got some sausage curbs just on the inside. You want to stay right away from there. And a really fast corner, turn 9. Just a little lift there. It's hard on the gas. Down the short, sharp straight into turn 10. This is where we get into the real twisty technical part of the track. Takes a little bit of finesse through here, using all of the curbs available to him. Back to the 15-minute qualifying session as well. There's Stu. How are you, Stu? Good to see you in the chat again. And then down into 14 and 15. Sorry. So this is no longer here as part of the F1 setup. But he's certainly there in this game and other games as well, obviously, as P. Russell goes to the top of the times. Here comes, that was Mark Hurley. Who else do we have here? 26, I'm going to get on it. Here's Matt Frost. It is going to be Mark Stevens who will be the next to cross the line. Bridgens not too far behind him as well. So Pierre Reid snuck in there too, so he's gone straight to the top of the times. Max Ricker, what can he do? He goes up into P4. Here's James Mack. They're chasing a 44.565 right now. James Mack goes up into P10 to start off. He's to open up his account. Here's Terry Rayton. He's on a roll. He's our championship leader. Looking to solidify his championship standings tonight. Goes into P2. So good start there from him. Here's Nando Latanzio. Aston Martin. Last week he was a 5th and a 2nd in race number 2. 5th in race number 1. Here's Adrian Rice. He's come back in the Mercedes after making his season debut last week. Number 56 hurls his way through the final turn. Up the main straight up into P14 for now, so we'll see how high he can climb. But right now it's Mitch Hayes. I said keep an eye out for him. He is at top of the time, so I did miss that. I do apologise. Here's Paul Russell in the Kmart Racing Porsche. He's got Peter Wall just tucked in behind him, who currently sits in P15 right now. Here's Russell. Is he going to beat his time? Only just. Not going to be enough to move him up the timetable. What about James Pierre Reid? Chris Hildebrandt goes over before he does. Now here's Pierre Reid. He had the technical difficulties last week, but seems to have rectified them. He's gone into P2. I think he's got a new set of pedals on order right now. Stevens moves up into P11. Bridgens coming through the final turn. He's got Max Ricker tucked in behind him. Ricker will be trying to get a nice little toe there. Bridgens still in 17th. Max Ricker goes into P1, so good start from him. He's been in some good form this late part of the season. Here's Herbertron in 13th. Who else do we have out there? Here's Matthew Marsh now. That's not Matthew Marsh, that's Neil Fakeney. Matthew Marsh is teleported back to the pits. That's alright. Here's Paul Russell again. We'll duck over to Neil Fakeney to finish his lap. 7/10 up on his best time. Moves into P3. Good lap there from Neil Fakeney. Here's Adrian Rice in that Mercedes. Front-engined car just slithering through the corners there. He's decided to abort that lap. Here's Peter Waugh. He's just coming through turn 12 now. Another long right-hander. At the left-hand side of the car, the tyres get a real workout around here. It's going to be all about managing them tonight. No pit rules, so it's open strategy. Just going to make things super interesting. Wall, he moves up into P14. Here's Lawrenson. Haven't seen him on the screen as of yet. His first time. He's currently sitting in P8 right now. Darts for the shortest run to the line. Can't move himself up from P8. They're all chasing this man here as we catch up with him. He's a little bit tail happy there. Coming out of 13. Lines up for McLaren. Now we've got ballast and whatnot to take into account as well. So Lawrenson and Rayton, I do believe, have the same amount of ballast. We'll have to double check all of that very, very shortly. Ollie Masterson down there in 16th. So yeah, Lawrenson and Rayton, 27 kilos of ballast each. Ricker and Russell. Ricker has 19, Russell has 11. And then James Pierre Reid, Hildebrandt 7, Mack Wall 5, Hurley, Latenzio 2, and Frost has 1 kilo of ballast. So the ones we want to really keep an eye on, Andrew Lawrenson and Terry Rayton both have 27 kilos of ballast each. Max Ricker does have 19. Alright, so Paul Russell. So Ricker continuing on his lap, might duck over to him now. Who else is out there? Hildebrandt is on a fast lap. Coming towards the end. Not looking like he's going to improve on that right now. So he'll probably remain down there in P12 for the time being. Max Ricker. Oh, let's go over to Chris Hildebrandt while he finishes the lap. I didn't know, but he has donated a server. to the PC League this year as well. So very, very generous of him to do that. I think I saw in a chat, another Discord forum, someone didn't realise that you have to pay for the server. I found that quite... I found it a little bit amusing. Not necessarily unsurprising in a bad way, but sometimes when you're young and things just happen, you don't realise someone actually pays for them. Everything costs something. But yeah, very generous of him to donate the server for us. Here's Mitch Hayes. So he's currently sitting in P4 right now with 44.297. He's 0.3 off the pole position time, and he's only about not even a tenth behind Neil Fakeney, who's a cracking time of a 44.272. So Hayes will be looking to knock that off right now, as we've only got less than 5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. They're all chasing Max Ricker. 43.987 is the best time. Terry Rayton in second. Neil Fakeney having a great run. Hayes, Russell, Reed, Frost, Lawrenson, Latenzio and Hurley. That's your top 10 right now. Highest of the silver drivers is Fakeney. Highest of the AM drivers is Mark Stevens, who's hasn't put a foot wrong basically since joining the league, joining this season. I think he's come from ART, another good, well-organised, well-run league as well. So, yeah, no, he's done fantastic. Here's Hayes. Can he knock off the highest rated silver driver, Neil Fakeney, in the dying stages of this one? I don't think he's going to. Almost, but not close enough. So he's got a little bit more work to do. Here's Bridgens, one of the AM protagonists. He's only 12.5 points behind Wally Masterson, who's in 14th position. What about Bridgens? How high can he get that BMW up the grid? Leopard print on the front, not higher than 18th at this stage. Peter Wall, he's not going to improve on his time. Neither is the Tanzio. Here's Matt Frost. So just a tick over 3 minutes remaining. What else do we have? Frost is a couple of tenths off Lawrenson in 8th position. It's one of the cars that's furthest along right now. It's a very, very challenging sequence of turns through here. I actually don't mind this setup compared to just the long run in the other sort of format of the circuit. And once again, the left-hand tyres are screaming just about screaming at this stage. They get to cool off a little bit up the main straight, and then they'll be back into it once again. So the left-hand tyres take an absolute punishment around here. J-Mac in P10. One of these guys as well would have done a fair bit of racing over the weekend. There was the Spa 24-hour race that was run. I think a lot of them participated in. As Andrew Lawrence goes into P4. There was a 4-hour console race as well. Herbitron P13. Fakeney is not going to improve on his time. I know Mark Hurley pulled double duty on a couple of them as well. So, yes, some tired drivers out there this evening, but still giving it their all. One of them is James Pierre Reed, who was inducted as a Super Ruse on the weekend as well, that we had on presentation night. So, big congratulations to him as he goes up into P3, stepping down from his admin role after the last couple of years. He's put in a sterling effort, so Once this season's done, I believe he's stepping down. But yeah, he was elevated into Super Ruse status as of the weekend. So big congratulations to him. That's quite an honour. I don't think it's a very long list, in fact, as a Super Ruse. So big congratulations to him as Frost remains there in P8 for now. Less than 30 seconds remaining in the session. A lot of these drivers will be their last chance to set a competitive time. Who's going to be the first driver across the line? It's going to be Matthew Marsh. He's in 18th right now, moves up into 17th. Then number 27, Max Ricker. What can he do? Will he get one more bite of the cherry after this if he wants it? I think James Pierre Reid would be one of the other ones. Neil Fakeney, he's almost 3/10 down on his best time, so he's not going to improve from P6. Nando Latanzio, he's not going to improve on his time either. So James Pierre Reid, he is not up on his best time. So looks like third is going to be the best he can do right now. What about this man here, Terry Rayton, currently sitting on the second row of the grid in P4. And he's invalidated his lap, so that's game over for him. Here's Mark Hurley. I don't know what's happened to his livery. Maybe he's got a new one, and I checked in the livery folders and there's nothing uploaded, so I don't know what's happened there. But here is Mark Hurley. Can he move up from P11 and join the top 10? He can. He goes into P9. Nice work from him. Here's Matt Frost. Can he improve on P8? He does. He goes up into 6th position. Max Ricker is on a flying lap right now. He's one of only 2 cars remaining on the circuit. He and Matt Frost are the only 2, or is Matt Frost is teleported back to the points, to the pit. So Max Ricker has the entire circuit to himself. He's got almost a 10th down on his best time. He needs to be able to make up at least that, plus another 10th to steal pole position away from Mitch Hayes. And he is not going to be able to do it. So congratulations to Mitch Hayes. He takes out pole position with a 1:43.890. So that was actually faster than our fastest time in free practice, which belonged to Matt Frost, a 44.090. So Mitch Hayes, congratulations to him. He takes out the overall pole position. Neil Fakeney, he's the highest of the silver drivers. Congratulations to him. He's having a great run in P7 outright. And then the highest, once again, of the AM drivers, kind of no surprise these days. It's Mark Stevens. Congratulations to him. 12th outright and fastest of the AM drivers. Cool. So that's qualifying all done. We'll be back. I'll be back in about 2 minutes and 10 seconds to get started for this one. So I will see you in a couple of minutes. All right, we are back. So let's quickly go through this grid. Mitch Hayes with the pole position. Max Ricker will start on the front row of the grid with him in P2. James Pierre Reid in this Team Superfund Porsche sitting there in P3. Fourth will be Terry Rayton. He's our championship leader at the moment. Andrew Lawrenson, one of the chief championship protagonists, starting in 5th position. Matthew Frost will be in 6th, just tucked in behind him. And it's the number 9 Ferrari, the Neon Storm Racing Ferrari. Neil Fakney starting in 7th position. 8th is Paul Russell in the Kmart Porsche. Mark Hurley will begin the race there in P9 in the Ferrari. Nando Latenzio rounding out the grid in P10. James Mack for Red Rebel Racing, he's going to start 11th. 12th will be Mark Stevens in the highest of the AM drivers. Herbertron, he's challenging for the AM Championship as well. He's going to be starting from 13th in this race. Chris Hildebrandt, he won both Silver Class victories last week. Starting there in P14. Peter Wall didn't race last week, but he's back this week in P15. 16th is Wally Masterson, so the AM race number 2 winner Matthew Marsh starting in P17. 18th is Adrian Rice, and 19th is James Bridgens. And that is rounding out the grid there as they make their way on the front straight. That's a nice camera angle. I've never really noticed that before. Head around on their warm-up lap. 5:04 in-game time. 5:04 p.m. It's going to be the start time. It's a nice setting sun. Or, yeah, not completely sunset, but you know what I mean. Masterson going to have another good run this evening. There's Hildebrandt. Is he flashing his lights there? Wasn't able to really tell. But anyway, he's going to begin the race from 14th. Herbertron. So Wally Masterson, he has a 12.5 point lead over James Bridges, who's starting in 19th. Masterson's 16th. And then Herbertron, he is starting in 13th position. So they're all relatively close to one another, all those guys. Battling it out for the AM Championship. Silver Championship, James Mack and Neil Fakney are the two chief protagonists in that. Neil Fakney, who'll begin the race from P7, James Mack from 11th, and then Chris Hildebrandt as well. He's starting from 14th. So that's what we're talking about, the Silver Championship, and then obviously the overall Championship. And Nando Latenzio sits 10th in that particular championship and is currently 10th on the grid. But all eyes on this man here, Terry Rayton. He's our championship leader. 587 points is his total. 122 clear of Max Ricker. Then it's Pierre Reid and Paul Russell on 464 and 463 with Andrew Lawrenson, reigning defending champion, sitting there in 5th position. He's 132 points behind Terry Rayton as we're making our way towards the final turn. And then once we cross that line, getting flashbacks to Pan Am race they did earlier this year around Barcelona, 24-hour race.
Green light, green light.
There we go. That's the green light. Looks like Paul Russell. Looks like Pierre Reid got a good jump there. Almost split him 3 wide. Got an angry pack heading down into turn 1. Looks like it's going to be Ricker will just have the advantage ever so slightly. Hayes will have the inside line. Rayton's in there as well. Pierre Reid makes a little bit of contact with Andrew Lawrence, and Pierre Reid loses a handful of positions there. Doesn't go around. I think it's Hildebrandt, and that's Hurley, I believe, in the back there. They've had an issue. They've had some sort of coming together, and that has not done their hopes any good, and then Peter Wall as well. So a couple of the drivers there, Hurley, Hildebrand and Wall, all losing a bunch of spots there at the first turn. Trusted drivers panel will investigate that. They do investigate any turn 1, lap 1 incidents automatically. And keep on moving. So it's Ricker out in front from Hayes, Brayton, Lawrenson, Frost, Russell. Reed's dropped back a couple of spots, 4 spots in fact, from P3. They're making their way into turn 10 for the first time this evening. Fakeney and Latenzio battling it out down there. So is James Mack. There they are. So Latenzio has managed to get the better of him on that occasion. They're all making their way through 13 and 14. There's Adrian Rice on the end of that train. But it's Max Ricker who's going to lead lap number 1 from Hayes, Rayton, Lawrenson, right on the back of Terry Rayton. Going to make a move down the inside into turn 1. Full commitment from both drivers there. And Lawrenson not quite able to get his way past yet. Continue to work on the rear of that Audi in front of him. He's got Matt Frost tucked in behind him, as well as a couple of Porsches with Paul Russell and James Pierre Reid. But Ricker already made a little bit of a jump here. 1 second is the gap between he and Mitch Hayes. You can see him just a little bit further up the road there. To be a great little early race scrap here between Rayton and Andrew Lawrenson. Potential handing over of the guard. Central champion. Oh, Russell has. I thought he was going around there, but managed to save it. Still got Pierre Reid tucked in behind him, Fakeney and Latenzio right on his hammer. Oh no, Lawrenson and Rayton come together. What's happened here? Let's see. So Lawrenson giving chase. Oh, looked to launch it just down the inside. Almost felt like he kind of pulled out of it at the last moment. Thought better of it, and it was a little bit too late. So Andrew Lawrenson has dropped all the way down into P11. So that is not good for his championship hopes. He needed everything to go his way tonight, and it's done anything but. Mack and Latenzio still scrapping it out. But we got a nice little tight contested pack between 3rd and 7th right now. That's Frost, Russell, Reid, Fakeney. That's James Mack going off in the background there. Doing a little bit of rallying. What happened to him there? So this was turn 3. Just in the braking zone for turn 4, and it looks like he ran a little bit wide there, ran a bit deep. Gets back on the track there. That's Herbertron just in front of him as we go back to live pictures. And Russell looks like he's managed to get a move done there. Frost and Pierre Reid as well. They're going at it right now. So Russell was able to get through, and now Pierre Reid. Oi! Frost just got up on the curbs there. Just shot him into the side of the Porsche, Pierre Reid. Don't think that would have really done any damage. And now he's going to continue to defend vigorously here. Their way on the front straight. Looks like Marsh has managed to get past Herbertron. Go back to this pack here. So that's Frost and Pierre Reid at the bottom of your screen. And here's Latenzio looking to make a move there down the inside. Pulls out at the last moment. So he's got Mark Stevens tucked in behind him. And that's Andrew Lawrenson. Further car back. And James Mack. So those two have already had a couple of little excursions in the early stages of this one. So far we've seen some really good racing. It's very tight from 5th to about 11th right now. Ricker has managed to pull out a 1.8 second lead on Hayes, as that was Latenzio just getting a little bit untidy there, and opens up the door for Lawrenson and makes a bit of contact. Latenzio goes off spearing onto the side of the track there, just keeps it off the barrier. Let's go back and have a quick look at that. Oh, so that was Latenzio, got all out of shape. Stevens snuck through, and then Lawrenson was like, I'm going to take my opportunity there. We saw the flames belching from the rear of that McLaren, and this is where Latenzio ended up. So he managed to keep that off the wall and get going again. So he's down there in P15 right now, though, so not where he would have liked to be. As we see James Pierre-Reid and Neil Fakeney going at it, the Ferrari versus Porsche. Top speed of 266 kilometres to the Porsche, 267 to the Ferrari, and he puts that 1 extra kilometre to good use as he manages to get past the outside of James Pierre-Reid into turn 1 and now moves up into P6. So Neil Fakeney having a great start to this one. That'll do his silver championship aspirations the world of good as well. He's only 42 points behind James Mack, who currently finds himself down in P10 at second in class, though, so it's not too bad for Mack at this stage. There's Mark Stevens, highest of the AM drivers, sitting in 8th outright. I don't know if he'll be an AM driver next season if he comes back. Move up a grade, I would think, judging on his performances so far. Nonetheless, doing a great job in the 169 Ferrari. He's moved up 4 spots from where he started. He began the race in 12th. Mitch Marsh, Matthew Marsh, I think I was going to say Mitch Marsh. Marsh has started from 17th, currently in P11, so up 6 spots. And Bridgens has gained 5 off the start there. Paul Russell up 4. And the biggest fallers is Hurley and Latenzio. Latenzio lost 5. Mark Hurley has lost 18. There's Andrew Lawrenson. Looking like he's growing a little bit impatient there, as that was Wally Masterson. So he's not having a good run of it right now. Back to Lawrenson versus Stevens. Gets out of the toe there and able to send the move down the inside of the Ferrari, and Andrew Lawrenson takes away P number 8 from Stevens, who now has James Mack on his hammer to deal with. They make their way through turn 3. So the gap between Ricker and Hayes is at 3.5 seconds. So yeah, Ricker and Hayes. Terry Rayton, they're in 3rd position, 2.5 seconds back. Then it's a 1.2 second gap between Russell and Rayton. Frost and Fakeney, 1.9 and 1.1 seconds behind each other. And then James Pierre-Reid just hanging on to the back of Neil Fakeney right now. Less than a second, we can see just up there ahead. Field still relatively condensed, but spreading itself out as we've gone the first opening 10 minutes of this one. I feel like things have just started to settle down ever so slightly. these drivers will be well into their rhythm. 5 laps under their belt. Enough time to just get acquainted with the conditions, which are phenomenal. 25 degrees air temperature, 29 degrees track. Is that optimum? Plenty of sun shining out there right now. Looking like these conditions will stay like this for the foreseeable future, if not the entirety of the race. As Lattanzio gets a move done. Let's see how that came about. That's Herbertron. We go on board. And was able to ease out of the draft. That Aston Martin, flames pouring out the side of it. And we get that job done. And James Mack as well on Mark Stevens. Let's see if I can catch the end of it. Yeah, here we go. Oh, into turn 4. And that's Mack down the inside. Able to get the move done on Mark Stevens. So James Mack moves up now into P9. As we go back to live pictures right now. There we go. And it's Mark Stevens. Just wanted to have another little go back. Try and catch Mack napping. So Lattanzio making his way up to the rear of Marsh. So the gap, 4.1 seconds. The difference between Ricker and Hayes. Lattanzio making a move here. Gets some lap times in a moment. There was an indicator on the Porsche, left-hand indicator. Not too sure if that was the signal to go around the outside or not, but Lattanzio does so anyway. He makes it and moves it up into P11 now. Gets the move done at turn 1, a very, very popular place for overtaking around this circuit. So lap times that they're doing, 45.270 was the last lap done by Ricker. The best is a 44.927, also held by Ricker at this stage of the race. Almost a quarter of the race distance. So yeah, so Ricker 4.6 seconds ahead of Mitch Hayes. Terry Rate is sitting there in second, so Hayes did a 45.5 that last lap. Rayton did a 46 flat. This man on screen did a 45.4. So ballast just starting to play a bit of a part, especially this late in the season. With the ballast situation, 27 to Lawrenson, 27 kilos to Rayton. The next closest is Max Ricker on 19, and Paul Russell, the man on screen, he only has 11. So he's got 16 kilos less ballast than the man he's hunting down, Terry Rayton, in the Audi, flying the Audi flag. See Hayes just a little bit further up ahead there. The gap continuing to grow, almost 6 seconds now between Ricker and Hayes. Lawrenson making up some ground right now on James Pierre Reid. Have a look at this battle here. Pierre Reid, I don't know if he has any ballast. Just checking. Does he? He does. He has 11 kilos. 11 kilos of ballast. Runs a little bit wide there. That's Pierre Reid. Into the final turn. Lawrenson has Mack behind him, but only 1.5 seconds. Sent it deep. There, look at him hacksawing at the wheel there. Doing his absolute best to keep that car facing the right way. Plenty of action on the steering wheel there from Andrew Lawrenson. Oh, now Pierre Reid, he runs a little wide. So not uncommon at this part of the circuit. As I've mentioned a couple of times already, the left-hand side of the car, the tyres will be absolutely screaming. They get a little bit of a reprieve now. Not for long. Then there's another right-hander coming up. We'll start again. As we have a look from the rear of the Porsche. Gap between P1 and P2 is at 6.7 seconds. Keeping our eye on this because these are the two closest cars out on circuit. McLaren can't quite catch a tow. As mentioned, 16 kilos more of ballast in that McLaren. That's James Pierre Reid. Working with a makeshift pedal setup tonight, so could explain his difficulties with the braking. I think he's using a clutch pedal as the brake pedal, as he did last week. You can see that McLaren looming ever larger in the rearview mirror of the Porsche. Not too far away from a third race distance. Some good racing going on. Back across to Russell and Rayton. They're having a nice battle as well. So another Laundry House racing entry. Lawrenson ducking and weaving. Makes a little bit of contact there with the rear of the Porsche, who looked like he might have been able to save that. He's ended up getting going again, and Lawrenson is going to redress that. Let's go back and have a look on the replay. Maybe we could go on board with Lawrenson and just missed his braking marker there, I reckon, and ended up colliding with the rear of the Porsche of James Pierre Reid, and this is him redressing there, and there goes Pierre Reid. So Lawrenson still 10th, 9th is Pierre Reid, and now Nando Latenzio wants to get a little piece of the action here. He's arrived on the scene. Going to move his way into the top 10. Oh, was that Pierre Reid just running wide? I think it was. Now let's open it up for Lawrenson as well as Latenzio. Let's see if I can just see what happened there with Pierre Reid. Oh, it's right at the end there, sorry. I kind of see all this already. This is the aftermath of what happened. But Pierre Reid's been in the thick of it the last minute or so. So go back to live pictures. Let's have a look at Neil Fakey. He's all over the back of Matt Frost. So Frost doing a great job. Couple of silver drivers right up the top end of the times as well. Fakey in P6, James Mack in P7. So Fakey, for all his good work, he's only getting the minimal amount of points difference between him and Mack right now. That all matters when it's only 42 points the difference between the two of them at the penultimate round of the season for the Silver Class Championship. Matt Frost, he's had a very solid year, in fact. He's had 3rd and 4th last week. Race 1 3rd, race 2 4th. Been a bit of a theme for him. He's had 3 4th place finishes this season. Hasn't finished any lower than P10. That's been his worst showing. So, well, he did have a D, other than his DNF in the first round. So it isn't absolutely spotless. Here's Pierre Reid and Rayton. They're making up ground on Mitch Hayes. Last lap around, Hayes did a 46.4. Rayton did a 46.1. Russell a 45.8. So Russell, the fastest of the trio. And still a healthy gap between Ricker and Hayes, almost at 7 seconds at this stage. We're not too far away from approaching the halfway mark, which I say would indicate probably get some pit stops starting to happen around that sort of 30 to 35 minute mark, I would expect. As mentioned, there's no pit stop requirements this evening, so it's an open strategy for all. I think that's where Andrew Lawrenson can really shine as well, as he has done in the recent past, as has done Terry Rayton, as we saw at Bathurst a couple of weeks ago. Where the pit stop requirements got changed at the last moment. There's some dodging and weaving going on up the front straight, trying to break some toes between Hayes, Rayton and Russell. What about Lattanzio? Can he wind up that big V8 Aston Martin? Looks like Lawrenson managed to get past these two as well, and potentially sending it on Mark Stevens into turn 1. Making up plenty of ground under brakes nonetheless is Andrew Lawrenson, and then going up the inside of turn 3, and he gets that job done. Oh, what's happened, Mitch Hayes? So we're on the replay. He's ahead of Rayton and Russell here. Oh, the back end just stepping out ever so slightly, and that was enough for him to lose it and drop 2 spots. So Terry Rayton and Paul Russell both able to sneak through there. Terry Rayton now P2, Russell in 3rd. Hayes a couple of seconds off those two, with Neil Fakey tucked in behind him. No, that's Matthew Frost actually, and then Neil Fakey. About Tanzio again as they make their way through Campsa, turn 9. Down into the hard braking zone at turn 10 for the left-hander. And it looks like Wall has managed to get past Wally Masterson. Down there in 15th and 16th. So back to Lattanzio and Marsh. That's Lawrenson and Stevens. This is all 4 position. No lap traffic in amongst this. Here we go. And Pierre Reid ran very wide there. I was almost thought that he's just going to give him the position, but he's certainly fighting. Pierre Reid will have the inside line here for turn 1. He's going to force Lattanzio to go around the outside. That's what he does. And Nando Lattanzio, the number 2 Aston Martin, now moves into P10. Nice move from him, textbook stuff. into turn 1. We get back to this little scrap going on here. Hayes and Frost, and Russell and Rayton looks good as well. Porsche versus Audi. We're going to go to the Low-Fuel Motorsport balance of performance next season, as well, as was mentioned by Neil Fakeney on the presentation night. Gave us a bit of insight into what's to come for next season, as a Honda versus Ferrari versus another Ferrari. So Frost is the cork in the bottle there. Meat in the sandwich, that's what I was looking for. Go on board with Paul Russell. Nothing doing into turn 1. What about Frost and Hayes as well as Fakeney? No, nothing going on there. Oh, what's happened, Adrian Rice? Looks like he's teleported back to the pits, and he just got sort of hung up there on the ripple strip, didn't he? And that was enough to really just drag the car around, and he's going to teleport back to the pits. And we'll go back to racing right now. Here we go. So 8.1 seconds is the gap between Ricker and Rayson. Half a second back from Rayton is Paul Russell. Lap times, Ricker last lap around 46 flat, 46.2 to Rayton, 45.9 to Russell, 46.5, 46.4. So yeah, Russell was the fastest of the top 5. He and Neil Fakeney on that last lap actually did an identical time, 1:45.982. Both he and Neil Fakeney both did the identical lap time last trip around. So there you go. A silver driver, a pro driver, a Porsche and a Ferrari. Identical times. Looks like Peter Wall manages to get past Bridgens. Let's see how that came about. We'll have a look on the replay. And just able to send it down the inside there of turn 11 and gets the job done. So Peter Wall moves up into 14th outright. He is 4th in class right now. And Wally Masterson looking to get a little piece of James Bridgens here as well. So Bridgens and he both tucked in, both in the fight for the AM Championship. So they're both 3rd and 4th in class. Mark Stevens is once again highest of the AM drivers. Erbitron sitting in 2nd there. So we'll stick with this battle for now. Got some more scraps I want to quickly duck across to very, very shortly. Let's just see how this pans out as we are fast approaching the halfway mark of this one. Round number 9 for the season. Been a long season, hasn't it? Long enough, I reckon. One more to go next week. 2 hours of Coda. That is going to be very, very interesting, considering track limits around there are particularly tight. As Masterson might have a move done here into turn 10. Gonna have to go around the outside, maybe a little bit of a switchback here. Yeah, he goes for it. He'll have the inside line for the next corner. No, can't quite get it done. What about maybe on the main straight, if he can just keep with Bridgens through this sequence of corners here, get a toe up the main straight. Latenzio is doing just that on Mark Stevens. He goes up the inside. Nando Latenzio takes away P9 from Mark Stevens. So textbook move into the into turn 1. This is a little scrap going on between Hayes, Frost, and Fakey. And Wally Masterson can't quite get it done. Bridgens is fighting on manfully. We're going to go side by side through turn 3. And Bridgens just has the edge for now. Masterson just pulling out, having a quick look, ducking back in again, thinking better of it. Lives to fight another day. This is not over between these two. Last lap around, Bridgens did a 49.390. Masterson a 49.205. So almost a couple of tenths faster on that previous lap was the Ferrari driver, Wally Masterson. Race number 2 winner last week for AM, and our current AM Championship leader as it sits. 28 minutes remaining, so we've clocked over halfway. Stuck across to this little group here, trio, Hayes, Frost and Fakey. We've seen no pit stops as of yet. So I know all the boxes are green. It means that there are no pit stop requirements, but it'll be interesting to see how the strategy plays out. 27 and a half minutes to go. Here we go, Masterson, take 2, down the front straight. Not this time around. Bridgens lives to fight another day. Fastest speed. Now they're both 268. Both their fastest speeds so far. While these two are going at it, Paul Russell and Terry Rayton continue to battle it out. So only a tenth between them on the last lap around. 1.5 tenths, sorry. And the gap between these two cars, Rayton and Russell, to Ricker is 8.4 seconds. There's Hayes and Frost in the background. The top 3 right now, Ricker, Rayton and Russell, the 3 R's. And then Fakey is the highest of the silver and Stevens highest of the AM. And very interesting to see what will happen with these pit stops. There we go. We're going to find out. Here's Bridgens. He's the first to blink. He's going to make his stop. This will give us a good idea on what might be a rough par score as we get the leopard print on the screen. He'll hit his marks. Relatively long pit lane here. Pretty easy to get in and out of though, which is handy. There we go. He's all done. And here we go. Back to Fakey and Frost. Last lap around, Frost 45.837, 46.567 to Fakey. So Fakey not quite able to match the same pace as Frost on that previous lap. And then Frost was actually faster than Hayes on that previous trip around. Drive through, speeding in the pit lane. That can only be one man. That's James Bridgens. And there he is, coming out of the pit lane now. That was Hayes navigating his way past. So was Frost and Fakeney. That's all sorted. So, unfortunately for Bridgens, he is going to have to serve that penalty. He was stopped for a total of 33 seconds on that trip. Adrian Rice is in there. Oh, another one, 56. Track limits. That's Adrian Rice. He's received a drive-through penalty for track limits. So Bridgens and Rice both have drive-through penalties next to their name. Nice little scrap here between Mitch Hayes and Matt Frost. He's battled away so well this season, Matt Frost. He's up there every week in, week out. Can he get a run on the Ferrari? Fastest speed from Frost is 266. Hayes is 265. Going to be put to the test down the front straight here. Seen plenty of overtakes happen into turn one. Are we going to see another one coming up? Hayes just going a little bit defensive there, well within his rights to do so. Good defensive driving there from Mitch Hayes. He's able to keep the Honda driver, the 666 Honda, Matt Frost, behind him. Neil Fakeney will be watching on with that with plenty of enthusiasm as Lawrenson gets the move done on Mac. This is a turn one overtake. There we go. Pulls out of the draft. McLaren on McLaren crime. Down the inside. And gets the job done. So Andrew Lawrenson moves now into P7. If we go back to live action. So Russell and Rayton. They are... where are they? 46 flat. Last lap around. 46.1. To Russell, so a tenth the difference. Max Ricker, 46 flat. He's 8.1 seconds up the road from these two with just over 20 minutes left. We have so far only had 3 cars pit. Mark Hurley, James Bridgens and Adrian Rice. The only car to pit out of those 3 for a strategic pit is James Bridgens. And then he had to do it again because he got caught speeding in the pit lane. Nothing going on into turn one here. What about Matt Frost and Mitch Hayes? Not quite that this time around either. So we're almost 2/3 race distance. Time anyway. And we're watching the battle for P4 and P5. Just trying to think. Mitch Hayes, I don't know if I've really seen him this season that much. I'm not sure. Don't have the almanac out right now. That's Russell and Rayton that you see just in the foreground. Everything's kind of just holding steady right now. I think there'll be plenty of drivers out there with some not particularly nice feeling tyres at this stage. And think a lot would be just thinking about the strategy. Max Ricker will be hoping that he has a bit more fuel in the car than he did in race 1 last week. Ran out of fuel in the first sprint race, hence his very, very low position in race 1. He finished 15th. I think that was almost plumb last. That's Frost once again, can't quite work a way past the Ferrari. Neil Fakeney did a 46.080, 6/100ths of a second faster than Frost on that last lap. It is 1.2 seconds the gap though between the two. You can see the gap between Russell and Rayton. Last lap around, Russell was 4/10ths slower than Terry Rayton on that previous lap, 46 flat to a 46.4, and Ricker circulated in a 46.287, so a little bit quicker than Russell, not as fast as Max Ricker, as Terry Rayton. I'm talking about Max Ricker. 18 minutes left, and the majority of the field still needs to pit. I don't know if they can do an hour on one tank. I wouldn't think so. It'd be pretty bloody impressive if they can. See, this is where I need Adrian Rice. I need him in the chat. These are the two of the closest cars out on track. Beside Russell and Brayton. Nothing close to them very shortly. Oh, actually, we see, is there anything going at the end of turn 1? No, there isn't. Let's go with Frost and Hayes. Now, Paul Russell, he's had a few podiums this season. He's had 2 seconds and a third. Had a couple of fourths in there, a fifth. A couple of rough results, a 15th and a 17th in there as Frost able to go down the inside of turn 3, and he gets the job done on Hayes. Nice work from the 666. Let's have a quick look at that, how this came about. I don't think I saw that because I was reading something else. I was reading out reading out Paul Russell's stats. Just a little wobble there from Hayes is all it was, and that's all Matt Frost needed. And now Neil Fakeney would have seen that in his lips, thinking, I could get a position here as well. I'd like a top 5 finish outright here as we're coming towards the business end of the session. And that's Hayes, so perhaps his tyres are just starting to feel it a little bit more than others around him. Looking to send a move down the inside, in fact. Mitch Hayes getting a little bit agricultural there, and in doing so he loses that spot. Let's see just what happened there. So there was the snap oversteer out of turn 9, and then looking to send a move down the inside, got on the climbing on the curb. A little bit too ambitious there, I think, and he's had to regather himself back up again, and away he goes. Here's Latanzio having a run down in P9 right now. He started in 10th, so he's moved in the right direction. He would have liked a few more spots. So this is going to be interesting. With 15 minutes left, how many are going to go all the way without stopping? That's going to be the interesting part. And if they do stop, it's definitely going to just be a splash and dash. I don't think there'd be any tyre changes at this stage of proceedings. We'll have to wait and see. Get back to Fakeney. So he's ahead of Hayes. Did I miss that? I think that I did. Oh no, because Hayes had that issue down at this lap, that last lap. Yep, that's Lawrenson in the background. He's lapping a 46.2, which is quite rapid. It's one of the fastest cars out there on circuit. He's 5.4 seconds back from this battle of 5th and 6th. So you would think the way things are looking right now, if they were to stay this way with Terry Rayton finishing 2nd, I think that would close the door on Andrew Lawrenson's championship aspirations. He's looking to go 3 in a row. He hasn't been here for a lot of it though. He's missed a few races. 3 in fact. The last one and a couple of rounds before that. So we're just kind of in a bit of a holding pattern right now. Herbertron in the McLaren, looking to reel in the Porsche of Matthew Marsh. Quite able to do so, but makes up a little bit of ground there into turn 1. So Mark Stevens, once again, leading the AM class, as he's done a couple of times already. Bathurst. Oh, Pierre Reid, what's happened here? Looks like he might have already been having a little bit of difficulties. Was that out of turn 3? Yep, we're going into turn 4. And the back end just stepping out. Yeah, ever so slightly. So tyres are coming towards the end of their lifespan and into the wall there. And I think that was a teleport back to the pits. I think it was. He might be done for the evening, James Pierre Reid. Yeah, so Mark Stevens had a great run of form since joining in the later stages of this season. Yeah, so he's in the lead of AM class. Herbertron looking to make up for some lost ground. He's in P2. Masterson, the AM championship leader, is in 3rd outright, and 4th is James Bridgens, who's 2nd in the championship. So this is good news. Oh, this is Mack and Latanzio going at it. And looks like Mack is able to get the move done. They're both fighting it out. Latanzio, you're going to have to go around the outside of turn 4. That's on the dirty side of the track too. And Mack able to hold him off. So Nando Latanzio just drops down there into P9. So James Mack, he's in the Silver Class Championship lead right now. Neil Fakey is in P2 in the championship. It's actually 5th outright and leading the Silver Class. So this is good news for Neil Fakey. It's good news for all of us because we're going to watch the championships for nearly all 3 categories go down to the wire next week at Coda. It will be the 18th of December. Do you believe that? 1 week away from Christmas. We're almost there. Hard to get too excited about Christmas as an adult, isn't it? I think you're more just looking forward to the nice break if you can have one, rather than the presents on Christmas Day. Here's the Latanzio and Max still going at it. And then, Peter Wall all over the back of another McLaren. That's Herbertron just up ahead. Runs a little bit wide, does Atron. Back end of that McLaren wanting to step out as well. It's been running the same tyres for almost 51 minutes now. And I don't think we're going to see any pit stops somehow. That's Latanzio. No move at the end of the straight. What about Peter Wall? Sitting 4th in class right now. driving into the right-hander of turn 1, almost at 6 o'clock in game time, 6 p.m. We've had some night races. We had last week finished in the dark as well. I actually have really enjoyed that aspect of this season. Just a little different time of day, something a little bit different each week. What about Latenzio now? Right under that rear wing of the McLaren belonging to James Mack. Listening to the roar of that big V8. Oh, Latenzio. Looks like he's a little bit impatient right now, wanting to get past that McLaren. Speed difference between the two, 266 kilometres to Mack, 269 to the Aston Martin. Just might not be close enough right now to have a launch into turn 1 with just a tick over 8 minutes remaining. Nothing doing into turn 1. Let's see if Wall and Atron can give us a little bit of action here. 5.8 seconds the gap between Ricker and Rayton for P1 and P2. 46.545 was the last lap by Ricker. It's actually a couple of tenths slower than the cars chasing. It looks like Latenzio might have got it done here. He has. Let's go have a look at the replay. How this came about. This is that's into turn 4, I think. Yeah, going to go around the outside and then dive down the inside of turn 5. Gets it done. Nice work there from Nando Latenzio. Now up into P8 outright for Nando. And then Neil Fakeney all over the back of Matt Frost. I feel like there's gains to be made here. Just with this late stage, he can. It's much more driver influenced. We're definitely not going to see any pit stops, that's for sure. With only 6.5 minutes left, Fakeney not able to get a move done. Yes, I think we'll see a bit more driver influenced here in the dying stages, just dealing with the condition of the tyres. Track condition hasn't been anything other than optimum for the entire race, so those conditions haven't really changed throughout. Way through turn 5. This is going to be a good little scrap in the dying stages. Fakeney just sizing him up here. So the gap now between Ricker and Rayton is at 6 seconds. Russell's at 1.4 seconds, and he lapped almost identical to Terry Rayton on that previous lap. Might get some action between Atron and Wall as well, down in 12th and 13th. Don't think we're going to see anything from Fakeney here. Frost has him covered at this stage. Oh, have a look at this. That's Marsh as well. It's all 3 cars, 4 position right here. Oh, Atron just hit that little curb on the inside there. Unsettled the car ever so slightly. Peter Wall, his tyres are screaming mercy right now as well. Did we see any punctures? We saw punctures in the AAES series. Let's hope we don't see any here, because there's only 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. And we'd be quite cruel if we did see that. Here we go, Wall in the draft of A-Tron. Every little bit's going to count for Herbitron in the championship standings. Peter Wall wanting to make his own mark as well. Goes down the inside of turn 1. Launches it. A-Tron able to fend him off as they go through turn 2. Now the long right-hander of turn 3. They've got to go side by side. A-Tron's going to be hung out to dry here, and Peter Wall able to get the move done. Good driving from both of those guys there. Herbitron just trying to fight back ever so slightly, but Peter Wall has that position taken. He now moves up into P12. Great driving from those two, and a really, really nice clean move there from Peter Wall and the number 17 McLaren. Let's have a look at Neil Fakeney. So it's all steady as she goes. 5.4 seconds now, the gap between Rayton and Ricker. Russell continues to hover at 1.3, 1.4 between he and Terry Rayton. And Matt Frost is 8.4 seconds back from these guys. This is what we're looking at right now, the scrap between Frost and Fakeney. But it's still the 3 R's at the front. Ricker, Rayton and Russell. I'm sure the Russells will be quite happy as well. Their man is doing a great job. P3 at this stage. It will be his 4th podium of the season for Paul Russell if he's able to continue on and finish in P3. Fingers crossed that he can. Just a tick over 2.5 minutes remaining in this one. They've been lapping in the 146s. I reckon we've probably got one more after Ricker crosses the line. He's not too far away. He's the number 27. He's just heading down into turn 10, the sharp left-hander, towards the end of the lap. These guys are not too far away from there as well. This is Lawrenson and Hayes. You often don't see this man scrapping for positions this late in the race down this far, but here we are. Hayes, he runs a little bit wide, gets on the dirt, and allows the 444 of Andrew Lawrenson just to take that place in the dying stages of this one. So he now moves himself up into P6. Andrew Lawrenson, 4.5 seconds behind Neil Fakeney, so you'd think this man would be feeling relatively safe as you can feel, with Andrew Lawrenson trailing behind you and this much time left. And I think this is going to be the last lap. I've got a feeling Lawrenson, he might have made a little bit of contact there with Mitch Hayes, who's been able to retake that position from Andrew Lawrenson. They head down the front straight now. The McLaren just probing, looking for a way past, tucked all the way under the rear wing. Ducks out at the last moment, but nothing's doing. Oh, he's run a little bit deep there, Mitch Hayes. And there they go. Lawrenson able to take that position back now. Oh, Russell made up a fair bit of ground. What is that black stuff on the rear of that car? How odd. I've never really seen that before. See on the back, the left rear quarter panel there. Yeah, maybe he's had contact there, not too sure. But anyway, he's sitting P3 and he's made up a little bit of ground now on Rayton. So he's putting on the pressure at the late stages of this one. Here's Ricker. This should be the final lap. I didn't get the signal, but that's not to say this isn't it. This should be it. We've got 10 seconds left here. Ricker just making his way towards turn 14, turn 15. But after a disappointing sprint round, mini super sprint round, Max Ricker is back on form. The McLaren driver is going to take home P1. Congratulations, Max Ricker. He takes out victory. Terry Rayton is going to come home in second. Paul Russell in third. Congratulations. Great job there from Paul Russell and Terry Rayton. Matt Frost is going to come home and take fourth position in the Honda. Congratulations to him. Neil Fakeney will take out the silver class victory and fifth outright. A cracking drive from him. Andrew Lawrenson, an eventful race for him. Sixth. Seventh is Hayes Latenzio is going to come home to claim P7 in the Aston Martin. James Mack, second in class, ninth outright, and the AM class leader. I think this is 3 on the trot. Mark Stevens is going to come home and take the AM class victory for Barcelona. Congratulations to him. He finishes 10th outright. Have a look at this gaggle of cars. So it's Marsh looking to come home in P11 as he heads for the line. That's Herbertron, Wall in there, Wally Masterson as well. So that'll all have AM championship connotations as well. Mark Hurley, he had I think he had an issue early on. So he's down in 17th position. Bridgens has finished 16th. 17th is Reed. And the last 2 cars just circulating at the moment is this man on screen, Mark Hurley, and Adrian Rice will also make his way. Good work from Adrian Rice to gut it out there and to finish the race. Good job to him. But Max Ricker, he's been in some fine form, so let me add these wins up, shall we? He takes home victory. That is his 1/3 of the season, Max Ricker. So congratulations to him. I think that is more victories than anyone else. No, Andrew Lawrenson has had 4, but this man has had 3. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to Neil Fakney for the silver class victory, and Mark Stevens has already gone. All right, wow. That's gonna really set up a great final round, which we are going to do next week. So next week is the final race of the season, final race of the year. How exciting! We're going to be at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas, United States of America. Lots of corner cutting. I'm expecting it's going to be 2 hours for the finale. And we're going to do all that again this same time, same place next week. So I hope you've all enjoyed this evening. Thanks for everyone in the chat. I saw Heather Russell. I'm pretty sure she'll be pretty happy tonight. Stu Barkley was in there. Stick Death. Ian Smee. Everyone else who watches on the replay. But well done to everyone this evening. Hope you all enjoyed the stream. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great week. My name's Nick, and I'm going to see you next week for round number 10 of the season, Circuit of the Americas. We're going to do it for 2 hours. Until then, have a great week. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.